So we continue with the nervous system, and this is the third part of the video. Okay, so now in this video we are going to see what exactly is the meaning of the reflex and how does the body perform this reflex action. So we understood in the last video that the body, that is the nervous system, is going to behave, or it is going to work under two conditions or two methods of working. One is called as the voluntary action, which is as per your own will, you decide what to do when. So that is a voluntary action. And another one is the involuntary action. The involuntary action is the action done by you. The muscles do work on that time, at that time, but that movement of the muscle was due to some kind of a response to stimulus. Okay, it was some stimulus which caused us to do that thing. For example, if you are walking in the night and suddenly a flashlight comes on your eye, what is the first thing? You raise your hand and block the light, or you close your eyes, right? What is this? This is nothing but a reflex action. Okay, so this reflex action is involuntary. You are not doing your purpose. You cannot even control it. It's obviously कि कोई अगर तुम हाथ में ऐसे करेगा तो तेरा आंख बंद होने ही वाला है. Okay, if somebody just tries to do this, you're bound to close your eyes. So that is called as the reflex action. So the peripheral nervous system and spinal cord together control certain actions where brain is not involved. See, these are certain actions which require a prompt action. Like for example, if I am touching a particular thing which is very hot, if that particular thing needs to be governed by the brain कि वेदर में अभी में गर्म है तो मैं इसको पकड़ के रखा है तो मैं इसको पकड़ के रखूँ या छोड़ूँ या क्या करूँ. If the brain is going to decide that thing, it will be too late and I would already burn my fingers. So what is required is, it is required that the spinal cord, which has already learned from its previous experiences, will give a command to the muscles to do certain actions. तो ब्रेन को पूछेगा भी नहीं, वो ब्रेन को सिर्फ बता देगा कि ऐसा ऐसा हुआ था तो मैंने उनको बोल दिया कि ऐसा कर लो. Like you're standing and suddenly you're holding a hand over here and there's a nail over here, so it pricks you. It pricks you, so the action that is a stimulus. It goes to the spinal cord. If the spinal cord will ask the brain, अरे मुझे यहाँ पे prick हो रहा है क्या करूँ, तो brain बोलेगा चलो हाथ उठा ले. तो वो part जो है वहाँ पे वो reflex नहीं है. But without asking the brain, if the spinal cord instructed to remove that, जैसे ही मैं prick करेगा immediately मेरा हाथ remove हो जाता है. So why I am removing it so fast is because the spinal cord gives the commands to the muscles to act. It does not allow, or it does not wait for the instructions from the brain that what is to be done with it. Okay, that's why the action is very fast. Okay, the action is, the reaction to this thing is very very fast, right? Light आया immediately हाथ ऊपर आ गया. You don't need to tell the brain about it, right? So the peripheral nervous system and spinal cord together control certain action where brain is not involved. For example, if you touch a hot object or get pricked by a pointed object, you instantly remove your hand without thinking about it. Such an action is called as reflex action. Okay. So what is a reflex action? Definition wise, reflex action is a quick, immediate and automatic response to a stimulus without the involvement of the brain. So without involving the brain, whatever is the first instance what you're going to do without thinking about it, so that is a quick, immediate and automatic response to a stimulus. And this particular thing is going to take place with a very short amount of impulse ka passage, and that impulse ka passage is called as reflex arc. Okay, it's a reflex arc, the pathway of the stimulus causing the response is the So the shortest path of the nerve impulse from the receptor to the effector, which makes a reflex action possible, is called as a reflex arc. Okay? Shortest pathway of the impulse. From what? From the receptor. मैंने हाथ रखा, मुझे prick हुआ, that's the receptor. मैंने हाथ withdraw किया, that's the effector muscle, helping it to remove it. So, from the receptor to the effector, the shortest path which is going to be available for this complete impulse to take place is called as the reflex arc. So the shortest path of the nerve impulse from a receptor to the effector, which makes the reflex action possible, is called as the reflex arc. Now they are given you a figure over here which tells you that how the reflex action works. So they are given you that you are touching a hot body, and as soon as you touch the hot body, the impulse of the hot body is reaching the spinal cord. The spinal cord immediately informs the muscles of the hand to withdraw the hand. So this is how it works. The first thing is the stimulus. So what is stimulus? The hot body is the stimulus. So who is checking this thing out? It is the skin which is checking out that whether it's hot or cold. That is nothing but the receptor organ. The receptor organ receives the sensory neuron, okay, as the sensory neuron which receives that impulse, which goes to the spinal cord. The spinal cord through the motor nerve informs the muscle to withdraw. That is nothing but the muscle action. So stimulus to receptor organ to nerve cells, sensory nerve to spinal cord to motor nerve, and motor nerve to muscle action is nothing but the reflex arc. So that is pathway given as A, and part B is they have shown the diagram that how the neurons are involved, the sensory neuron, so the receptor to the sensory neuron to the spinal cord, and spinal cord to the motor neuron to the muscle, and muscle withdraws the hand. So here it is, the stimulus received by the sensory receptor in the finger. This impulse is generated and carried along by sensory neuron towards the spinal cord. Impulse travels through spine nerves towards the spinal cord. Impulse arrives at the nerve endings at the sensory neurons. The impulse passes across the relay neuron or interneuron present between the sensory and the motor neuron or to the motor neuron. The impulse travels along the motor neuron away from the spinal cord. The nerve endings of the motor neuron connect effector organ to the or muscle, and finally response is produced by the effector organ or muscle. So this is the complete pathway which the reflex arc or the reflex action is going to follow for any such kind of involuntary activities, right? So that's a very important part. Yeah, it's exactly very important to know this complete steps which are involved in the reflex action. Now this reflex action, what we are talking about, of course we say it's an involuntary activity, but there's not only just one kind, it is of two kinds. One is natural, another is conditional. Okay, natural, also called as inborn. Like the reflexes, certain reflexes of our body are such that we don't need to learn from our previous experiences. We know it right from birth. Right from the time we are born, we know that okay, whenever we're going to sneeze, the eyes are going to close. Okay? You are blinking. You're not taught that okay, you need to blink so that your eyes remain moist, or how to vomit, how to sneeze. Okay? You don't need to learn all this. This is something which is there in you right from the time you are born. So that is why it is called as inborn kind of or natural kind of reflex. And certain reflexes are such that you learn in the further course of your life. Like, first time when you tied your lace of the shoes, you had to take good amount of pains कि ये लेस को पहले इधर डालो, फिर इसको इधर डालो, फिर इसमें से इधर से निकालो, फिर ऐसे करो, फिर वैसे करो. So maybe for a year or 2 years just doing that thing. But once at your age, what is happening? You are speaking to somebody and doing something and you are tying the lace. You are watching a movie or watching the television and you are tying the lace. You don't even know whether you tied the lace in this way or that way. You don't even need to see it because your body has got accustomed to doing that job in so many ways, in so many times, that now it is like something which is habit. You got habituated to do that thing. So such kind of thing, like even somebody is playing a keyboard. Okay, तो कीबोर्ड में भी क्या होता है कि वो पहले स्टार्टिंग में आया सा किधर है, रे किधर है, ग किधर है, वो ढूंढना पड़ता है. एक बार वो आ गया उसके बाद क्या है, it automatically goes, the fingers automatically move on it, right? So this is nothing but the conditioned reflex which you learn in your lifespan. Okay, as you learn it, you are going to keep on developing this particular kind of reflex in your body. So reflexes are of two kinds: natural inborn reflex and conditioned acquired reflex. Natural or inborn reflex is one in which no previous experience or learning is required. You don't require any previous experience or learning for a natural response. These reflexes are inborn, inherited from the parents. For example, blinking and watering of the eyes, coughing, sneezing, vomiting. These are protective reflexes. These are protective. This is something which we are going to do for our own protection. Sneezing is a protection mechanism. Vomiting is a protection mechanism. You don't allow certain things to enter into certain areas. So that's why you vomit it out, okay, or you sneeze out. So that is something with a protective kind. Blinking is also a protective one, okay. Salivation when hungry, swallowing, peristaltics providing functional efficiency. So all this, salivation when अगर अचानक बहुत स्वीट अच्छा फूड देखा तो मुंह में पानी आ जाता है. So all these are one which are inborn. Okay, these are, you don't need to learn that thing. It is automatically in your body. So they are functional efficiencies. So salivation when hungry is one thing, but at the same time, समोसा को देख के मुंह में पानी आना is not natural. It is not inborn. Because it's only when you eat that samosa once or twice, then you feel, अरे यार ये तो बहुत superb चीज है, and that's why whenever you see it, your mouth starts watering. So that is a conditioned reflex. Okay? Hunger के time पे, when you are hungry and your mouth starts watering, is an inborn reflex. So it is not craving for some particular food item. It is just craving for some food that you are hungry. Whereas when you see a particular thing, you see a cake and your mouth starts watering. This is because when you had it earlier, you like the taste of it and your body has developed a craving for that thing. So when it sees that thing next time, it remembers that same taste and everything and likes to have it once again. That's why it starts salivating. Okay, so that is a conditional reflex. Right, so conditioned or acquired reflex is one which develops during the lifetime due to experience or learning. Okay, it is due to experience or learning. For example, of conditioned reflex are watering of mouth, salivation at the sight of favorite or tasty food. Here, as an acquired reflex, salivation occurs because our brain remembers the taste of the food due to previous experience. Okay, we had experienced it earlier that this was very tasty. That's why as soon as you see that thing again, you start salivating. Typing on a keyboard or a computer, playing a musical instrument, all these are conditioned reflexes. Now, they are given us some basic terms which are used in the functioning of the nervous system. So, we are already seen these words, but what they actually mean, let us understand those. Like we already use the terms like stimulus and receptor and effector and all. So let's see what exactly they mean. So that's the last part of the chapter. To understand the functioning of the nervous system, we should be familiar with the following basic terms. Stimulus. In fact, this should have been the earlier part of the chapter so that you could understand it at that time. Anyways, you know what exactly it means, so not a problem. So first is stimulus. Any change in the environment that usually results in change in the activity of the body. Okay. अपने आसपास में कुछ भी ऐसा change होना जिसके कारण your body is going to act on it is the stimulus. It's too cold, we do like this. So what is cold? It is the stimulus for us to do like this, right? Or chattering of the teeth. वो chattering of the teeth क्यों हुआ? The stimulus to that was the cold outside. So stimulus is something which is going to trigger some action to be done by your body. Second is response. The activity of body due to the stimulus. ठंडी था इसलिए मैंने ऐसे किया तो ये जो मेरा एक्शन था that was nothing but the response to the stimulus. Okay, somebody put a torchlight on my face and I raised my hand like this, so my raising of the hand is the one which is nothing but the response to the stimulus. Impulse, we know it's nothing but the wave of the electrical disturbance that runs to the nerves. So yeah, the message needs to pass from one end to another point. There is nothing but the electrical impulse which is going to be passing through the nerves. So that is the impulse. Receptor is the sense organ which receives the stimulus. So light falling on my eye, so eye was a receptor which took that stimulus. Okay, if I smell something very good and my mouth starts watering, so the nose is my olfactory nerve, which is the one which is the sensory organ or the receptor to receive those stimulus. Finally, the effector, that is the one which is going to act on it. So any muscle or gland where the response occurs, like my mouth starts watering on seeing a samosa, my mouth starts watering. So the salivary glands which are watering or which are giving out the saliva is nothing but the gland which is the effector organ. Okay, so effector, muscle or gland which is going to respond to the on which the response occurs. Now the above terms can be understood by taking example of a sudden removal of the hand on touching a hot object. So if I touch a hot object, then I know that as soon as I touch a hot object, I am going to withdraw my hand. So within this particular action of my touching and withdrawing the hand, what are these stimulus and all? Let's understand this. So heat which is there, the hot object or the heat here, that is the stimulus. So what is the stimulus? The heat. Second, the nerve cells in the skin that receive the stimulus are the receptors. The nerve cells, the skin of the nerve cells of the skin are the receptors. The sensation traveling from the skin, जो sensation जा रहा है through the nerves, is the impulse. So sensation traveling through the nerves is the impulse. The muscle of the gland receiving the command from the brain is the effector. So the muscle, this muscle receive the information from the spinal cord कि अरे चलो हार्ट विड्रॉ कर ले, तो वो जो मसल है जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होगा और मेरा हार्ट विड्रॉ होगा, that is the effector. And the contraction of the muscle for withdrawing the hand is the response. So my withdrawing the hand is the response. So this is how the body is going to act towards any kind of a stimulus which takes place in front of it. So yeah, this is the end of the chapter. A small chapter as such, just 3 videos, but very, very, very important. Almost each and every page of this thing is important. There is nothing which is not important in this page. The diagrams which can be asked for drawing are 7.1, which is the nerve cell or a neuron. Yes, it can be asked for drawing. Otherwise, none of them can come for drawing. But yes, 7.6, the brain का जो median section है, that can come for labeling purpose. And also 7.7, the pathway. So 7.7b जो है, that also can be coming for the labeling part. So labeling part में 7.7b, the one जिसके अंदर हाथ और वो जो दिया है, that one can also come for labeling. So 2 ones for labeling, the 7.6 and 7.7b, and for drawing could be 7.1. Other figures are just for your understanding, they are not of that importance. To draw a label, that's it, right? Okay, so this was about the chapter, right? So this ends the chapter nervous system, and yes, it also ends the as per your school syllabus. You have got only these chapters for your term examinations, for the final examinations. So with this we also complete our portion of the 8th standard for your school. So that's it for biology. So that's it. Thank you.